Responsible AI begins when values become controls. Fairness, transparency, explainability, accountability, and human oversight must be built into each lifecycle stage, then monitored and audited. That is how ethical intent becomes measurable, enforceable enterprise trust. We've moved from recognizing enterprise AI change to building governance foundations, to identifying AI-specific risks and threats. Now we turn those insights into practical safeguards for fairness, transparency, explainability, human oversight, and accountability before prioritizing incidents and risks. Responsible AI is not managed through a single ethics statement. It works through control domains. Fairness asks whether outcomes create bias or unjustified disadvantage. Transparency and explainability help people understand how decisions are made and used. Accountability and oversight assign owners for approvals, exceptions, and intervention. Safety, robustness, privacy, and social impact make sure systems are secure, lawful, resilient, and evaluated beyond immediate business performance. Ethical principles are only the starting point. In an enterprise, each principle must become a control, something testable, owned, evidenced, and reviewed. Fairness, for example, becomes a bias threshold, subgroup testing, an approval decision, and a retained fairness report. If a control fails, teams need escalation, exception handling, and response steps. This traceability turns responsible AI from good intent into governance that auditors, leaders, and users can trust. Fairness starts with choosing the right definition for the decision being made. In hiring, equal opportunity may matter most. In lending, outcome distribution and error rates may both matter. Once fairness is defined, test the model across relevant groups, not just by overall accuracy. Look for gaps in approvals, false positives, false negatives, and calibration. Then document the trade-offs, thresholds, and remaining risks, so fairness becomes an accountable decision, not a hopeful claim. Bias assessment is not a one-time fairness check. It is a control pattern across the AI lifecycle. Start with the data: representation, labels, historical patterns, and proxy variables. Then test the model for subgroup performance, error rates, and outcome disparities. Next, audit the surrounding process, including access, appeals, and feedback loops. When risks appear, mitigation may include rebalancing data, reviewing features, adjusting thresholds, or adding human review. Monitoring keeps the loop active after deployment. Explainability should be designed before the first model goes live. The key is fit. Different audiences need different explanations. A user needs to know what action they can take. An executive needs to understand decision logic, risk, and trade-offs. A regulator needs evidence that controls worked. Choose methods that match the model and decision context. Then test whether the explanation is accurate, understandable, and not creating false confidence. Transparency means making AI's role understandable without overwhelming people with technical detail. Users should know when AI is involved, whether it is advising or deciding, and what options they have to question or escalate the outcome. Internally, teams need durable documentation: purpose, data sources, limitations, confidence, known risks, and accountability owners. The goal is informed trust. Good disclosure helps people use AI appropriately, challenge it when needed, and gives regulators a clear audit trail. Human oversight is not the same as adding a person to the workflow. It only works when that person can understand the AI output, has enough time to question it, and has real authority to approve, pause, override, or reject the decision. Otherwise, the human becomes a rubber stamp, creating false confidence and greater accountability risk. Match the oversight model to the use case: lighter checks for low risk, stronger intervention rights for high risk or safety critical decisions. Oversight is not one setting. It scales with risk. In the loop means the AI cannot act until a person approves. On the loop means the AI can operate while people monitor it and step in when signals look wrong. In command is stronger. Humans define the mission, limits, and shut down authority. The key is evidence. Record approvals, overrides, escalations, and who was accountable. So oversight is real governance, not just a person nearby. Responsible AI review turns good intentions into accountable deployment decisions. A use case enters with its purpose, data, model evidence, and expected impact. Then a cross-functional group tests the assumptions. Is it fair, explainable, safe, lawful, and manageable in operation? The outcome is not just yes or no. Approval can include required mitigations, residual risk acceptance, escalation paths, and monitoring commitments. Repeat the review at major lifecycle gates, before launch and after significant changes. Accountability starts by naming owners for each major AI obligation: purpose, data use, risk acceptance, deployment, monitoring, and remediation. Then define the moments that force escalation, such as bias breaches, contested decisions, unexpected harm, or regulatory concerns. The path must be safe for employees, reviewers, and users to challenge an outcome. Finally, record every decision. Approve, remediate, pause, retire, or escalate. That record turns ethical concern into auditable governance and continuous learning. Responsible AI often fails not because organizations ignore ethics, but because ethics stays symbolic. Principles need owners, tests, evidence, and escalation paths. Human review must come with authority, context, and enough time to disagree. Accuracy must be checked across groups, not just averaged overall. And people affected by AI decisions need a real way to ask why, challenge the outcome, and get correction. The control pattern is simple. Make accountability observable and actionable. A useful test is whether the commitment can be checked. Fairness is not a control until teams can define evidence, measure outcomes, monitor drift, and audit decisions. Oversight is not meaningful unless people can stop, override, pause, or escalate a system. Explainability is not effective if it is generic rather than tailored to the audience. The thumb rule is simple. If a commitment cannot be tested, reviewed, or enforced, it is still an aspiration, not governance. Responsible AI is a controlled discipline. Trust comes from evidence. Fairness tested, explanations designed in, oversight assigned, decisions documented, and issues escalated. These same controls become the foundation for incident classification. Next, we move from building trustworthy controls to prioritizing failures by bias, impact, and severity.